Welcome to the Silver Mature WomanPreneur Podcast, a podcast for and by women over 50, providing faith-building strategies for female entrepreneurs looking to achieve higher levels of productivity, capacity, and growth, where we strive to focus on God's agenda while building our businesses to serve our community with excellence. Welcome to the podcast. Now today, I have the pleasure of having Lisa Carmichael on the show. Now, Lisa owns a digital marketing business where she helps entrepreneurs to stand out from their competitors and manage their reputation and legacy. She's also a published author and facilitates mastermind groups. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I wish you could see the big smile on my face because I just think the world of you, Aldreama, so I am just so honored to be here with you.
And I am just as honored to have you as you are being on the show. So, Lisa, let's talk a little bit. I know I have a ton of questions, first of all, but I want to talk a little bit about your business and what do you help people do, because I know that I shared a little bit, but I think you can describe what you do better than I can. So let's start there. What do you help people to do?
Well, I help people basically find themselves. This all started on my journey when I left corporate, and I just felt kind of lost because I was so used to people telling me what to do. And through this journey, by becoming a published author, by starting my own business, I really came into terms of being me and being okay with me taking orders from myself and giving myself orders. Not that they're orders, but just my own advice, my own intuition, my own knowledge.
That's really good because a lot of times, we don't recognize that those of us who are silver and mature, and by the way, for those of you who are listening, Lisa is not silver, but she's very mature. So I just thought I would throw that in there.
No, well, guess what? I am a little silver. So during COVID, I stopped coloring my hair. And so I no longer color my hair, and I do have some longer gray strands, and I'm going to stick with it.
There you go.
So I have natural highlights now, as my hair person calls it. Yeah.
And it's beautiful, by the way. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's very beautiful, yeah. So, and see, I did not know that. I mean, I stopped coloring my hair a few years ago because my silver just took over, and it was just getting costly.
Yeah, well, that too, yeah.
Yeah, but I say embrace the gray. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, not to diverge into it, but I always felt after I had my hair colored, it just wasn't, there was just something that just didn't look quite right. I'd look in the mirror and I'd be like, it's nice, but it's just not, I don't get it. It just doesn't match me. And since I've stopped coloring, I can look at the mirror and I know that this is what I'm supposed to look like.
Wow. Well, and that's like I said, embracing it and listening, not having or not allowing society to dictate, what you should look like, but embracing who you feel like you want to look, and and be okay, with embracing the gray. So yeah, but I didn't mean for us to get off on a tangent on that, but I just thought it was important to point that out. So let's talk about some of the things that you help women do. So I love the fact that you have a digital marketing business. You help entrepreneurs to stand out from their competitors and manage their reputation and legacies. I love that.
I had somebody help me create that with branding. And it's something that I've just truly leaned into. So the strong relationships my marketing business has a focus on developing strong relationships. Well, what I've noticed is like relationships that like you and I have, I feel like we have a strong relationships because I just feel so comfortable with you. And I wasn't there a year ago. And until I became a published author, the relationship that needed me the most was my relationship with myself. I mean, other than God.
Yes.
But I finally realized that I needed to strengthen the relationship with myself. And that was really the tipping point for me. That was like, that really made a huge difference in how I felt about myself.
When you show up in the marketplace, you got to show up authentically as yourself. And until you get that thing right, you're going to be, suffering with imposter syndrome and, going from here to there, listening to this guru, that guru, trying this thing and that thing, and really not having a good foundation in terms of who you are.
Exactly. And because of that, when you realize that it's okay to be you, that is how you stand out from your competitors. That's how you become you. And actually, we shouldn't have competition. Our competition really should be ourselves. And I learned that because I worked retail, I worked straight commission. And I'd like blow people out of the water with my sales, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you competing against me? And I'm like, I'm competing against myself because I'm the only one I can compete against. I couldn't compete against them because they couldn't keep up with me, unfortunately. So when I realized that I don't have competition, and I've really changed, and I want people and entrepreneurs to change it to, instead of working with competitors, your competitors are really your collaborators.
Yes.
Collaborators. I'm trying to combine two words into one.
I know, right?
Yeah. Because, when you create those partnerships, you're developing a relationship. And, one thing that they're really good at, you may not be good at. And one thing I might be good at, they might be better at. So those partnerships really turn into amazing things.
Yeah. We should never see ourselves as competing against someone else, because really in the kingdom of God, there is no competition. We are all collaborating and focused, and should be focused on the kingdom and kingdom business. And so, even though, you may do something that's similar to what someone else does, in terms of your business, you still bring your own experiences. You still bring your own mindset and your unique way of doing things. So you bring those things to the marketplace and to the table, even though it may be something that's similar. But you may you do it differently. And so that's why we should never see others as competitors, and it's dangerous. You end up always thinking of someone else as a competitor, and that's not a healthy place to be. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
And it's not, because I feel like that's how I grew up. And thinking back is when I wrote my book, I did a lot of self-reflection of when I was young and how I went to school and how I compared myself to all those other beautiful people, those other prettier girls than I was. And no one told me to stop comparing. And if I can teach other young women, young entrepreneurs to stop comparing and start listening to themselves, that's when they will start making the difference.
Absolutely. So I want to segue into that a little bit. So you are a published author, and so tell us a little bit about your book, and then I want you to talk about your mastermind groups, because I know you do that too.
Yeah. So my book, I wrote more as a healing kind of thing. I was invited to participate in a mastermind group through the military. So my husband's a veteran, a Navy veteran of 38 years, so I definitely qualified for this group because of his service. And I would go to these mastermind meetings, and this was in person. It was a 6-month commitment, and we were meeting once a week for 2 hours. And I was surrounded by amazing entrepreneurs, and we would take breaks, and I would go into the ladies' restroom, and I would do breathing exercises because I was so overwhelmed. Like, God, how did you put me into this situation? How did I ever qualify for this? What am I here? Why am I here? And so I had to change my wording to, I'll be okay. This is all meant to be. I don't understand. I don't need to understand. And I'm going to make this the best experience of my life. And then I'd go walk back into the room and pretend I wasn't crying. And working with these other amazing entrepreneurs, I was encouraged to write a book. And that was not on my radar, not at all. Wow. I was building a digital marketing business, and that's what I wanted to focus on. But the one thing that I had going for me was journaling. So at that time, I was journaling every day, and I had to tap into my strengths. So my strengths were, I could look up how many words I needed to write a book, and I could transcribe my journal and write a book. And I thought it was going to be as easy as that. I didn't know I was going to have to market it or find an editor or find a publisher or, any of that goes along with writing a book. But the more I wrote, the more I learned about myself, and the more I found my strength. I found more courage than I had ever knew that I ever had. And it was an amazing experience. And that mastermind group, I just felt like it was a gift to me. I was invited to the group, and I didn't want to walk away without taking something from it. Because, it's so easy for us as women just to try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that, and never finish. And so this time I made the decision that I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with it. I am going to finish this book, and I'm going to publish it. And that's what I did. And I'm so proud of the fact that I wrote it. I found an editor. We published it, and it's on Amazon. And it's just, I can add that to my title.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty proud of it.
As you should be. As you should be. Now, since you are a published author, what are the 3 most important things to consider when writing a book?
What are the 3 most important things? Okay. I would say create a vision in your mind of what you're creating, and then share that vision with others. So I had my support group that, this is what I was doing. This was the end result that I was going for. And I had to vision myself finishing that book. And even when I think back, I can still see that gift wrapped that I was given to be in the group. Wow. The second piece is I learned that you need to market your book before it's even published.
Yes.
Because, I was so focused on finishing it, and actually I wanted to burn it, I think 2 or 3 times along the way, and I wanted to quit probably 8 times or maybe 500 times. But the one piece that as an after fact, I really realized that the end goal wasn't necessarily about finishing the book, but I also needed to focus on marketing my book and setting that launch date and surrounding myself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, just that marketing piece again. Not only the before the vision, and then the second piece where I said just marketing before your book is published, and then there's the after. You know, just have a better plan how to promote it and how to, you know, there's so many different ways to promote that maybe I did go into it blindly a little bit because I wanted to finish it. So now as I look back, I would definitely have a better marketing plan.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I, you know, and along with that, I created Audible book, so that was kind of fun. So I recorded it in my voice. I learned a ton with Amazon how to upload the book onto the website through ACX. So it was a really incredible journey, and it's kind of fun to be able to share with people that journey. So I would always throw it out to anybody that's thinking about writing a book. Reach out to me because I'd be more than happy to share everything that I went through, because it was a 9-month journey. It definitely took 9 months from start to finish.
Wow. I wish I could say mine took 9 months. Mine took much longer because I don't consider myself a writer. But like you said, you know, journaling was something that really helped you to get through that process, because that's an important skill, you know. If you're journaling, you know, that's definitely important and all that. But what's the title of the book?
Well, the name of the book is I Have Time for You.
Oh.
And it really made sense to me because I was not making time for myself. I was the mom who was helping everybody else, and I put myself on the back burner. So I have time for you means I have time for Lisa, making time for myself. And my book is, it does talk about God and trusting in God's plan. I trust in God's heavenly plan for happiness. So, I mean, God is definitely the underlying where the time belongs. But when I realized that I needed to make time for me, and by doing the journaling every morning and doing my meditations, that's what changed for me. That's what helped me so much.
Yeah, I so love that, and I think that's an important thing to point out, particularly to the audience that we're speaking to, because we're speaking to women who are 50 and over, and so many times when, you know, we reach that age and even, you know, older, we realize that, you know, we've taken care of everybody else. And your book certainly speaks to the challenge that we have, because a lot of times, and I want to say this too, because I think, because we'll touch on this also about mental health, but it's something about, you know, self-care, and I know that's a term that everybody's using now, but those of us who are, you know, 50 and over, that wasn't really such a popular concept, you know, coming up. You know, we felt like, I know I did, I felt like if it might be considered selfish, you know, taking care of myself, making time for myself. Yeah. Did you kind of go through that as well?
I did, and you reminded me too that when I wrote this was a time where I was facing an empty nest. And that's a transition in life that you really can't prepare for. You kind of think you can, but you know, I was facing my youngest leaving home to go to college, and we were very close. So I was trying to figure out, okay, what's next for me?
Yeah.
Because I was 50. I was just turning 50, and I was I was into my 50s. And I was like, okay, what, you know, how do I transition with this? Because, you know, it's like I had to reinvent myself because I was always my kids' mom.
Yeah. And you know, there are a lot of women in our age category who are caregivers, and we have given so much of ourselves, and then we find ourselves in a place where it's like, okay, just like you just said, what do I do now? I've taken care of my parent, or I've taken care of my children, or I've taken care, of my husband. Now my husband, maybe he's retired and he's got his own career, and things that he's, that he may be focused on, but that making time for myself, or making time for me, as in the title of your book. I mean, I can't wait for people to actually read this, and so I can't wait to put the link on there and people to get a copy of your book, because I think it's just so relevant for right now, the times that we're facing, and women who are in this category that we're in. And even something I just thought about, even when, we talk about the culture right now. So we have women or people that's going through this, what they're calling the Great Resignation. So now we have women, and I know I keep saying women because that's who we're talking to, but we have people who are now at a crossroads. They've spent all of this time in a career and doing, whatever type of career that they've had, and so now they're at a crossroads, or they're resigning, and they're sitting there and they're like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because I've been doing this, for 25, 30 years of my life. What do I do now? And it's the same kind of feeling as an empty nester, as someone that's, that's been, taking care, that's been a caregiver, or someone that's been, that's gone through, a lot of these type of life changes. And so now they're at this place, and it's like, okay, what do I do now? Because I haven't made time for me. Right. So,
and sometimes it's just a wake-up call where things happen so that you have to realize it. I mean, I just knew that my corporate world did not have the loyalty that I felt that I deserved, that, I was just another number, and I wanted to be more than just a number.
Yeah.
So that's, and that's, when you realize that, then you can make the shift. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with corporate or living the corporate life. It's just that I chose a different journey, and but no one's, there's no competition. Let's put it back.
That's right.
Back to that competition word.
That's exactly right. And I know we kind of touched on this just a second ago, but I wanted to ask you, about mental health, because I know what we're talking about as far as self-care and, taking care of ourselves and, taking care of our mental health. My question is, why is mental health so difficult to understand?
My oldest, my son, was diagnosed with autism at around the age of 2. Officially, he was diagnosed at the age of 3. And I'm so grateful that we were able to get services through our county, and he would not be as high functioning as he is today if we wouldn't have sought out the support and asked the questions, because he could have gone down a completely different road. And I'm so grateful that I could be his mom and be his number one advocate, because I know he is so high functioning because of how we chose to parent him. And I really feel that mental health is difficult to understand because you can't understand something about someone else unless you walk in their shoes.
Oh, wow.
Until you walked in another person's shoes, you will never understand it. And every case is different. Every autistic case is different. And it's because not only are we all created differently, we understand each other differently. So, I became a mom when I was 32, and I thought, I've finally arrived. I worked corporately, and I wanted desperately to get ahead. I wanted to change the world. I'd graduated from college, and then I was pregnant. And I walked across the stage accepting my bachelor's degree diploma while I was pregnant, not knowing it. And my world was centered around my beautiful son after he was born. And for my son, things just didn't seem to come naturally to me. He was quiet. He didn't say much. He was putting rocks in his ears. And he had a few behaviors that weren't at the same level as his peers. So fortunately, together with the daycare provider, we had him tested through the school district, and he was diagnosed, and I was humiliated. I was mortified. I was embarrassed. I was thinking, like, why was my son different? And that's when I learned that I had a new role. My role was to be my son's number one advocate, and again, without those resources, he wouldn't be where he's at right now. So I guess what I'm saying is that every case is different. Mental health, we just don't understand, but the most important piece is early detection, early, finding things out early to help people early in the game, because that's what made the world of difference for our family. It may not for somebody else's, but that's what worked for us. And I truly believe that he wouldn't be where he's at without it.
I mean, what a blessing,
Right.
To be able to detect and have the kind of, and I think it was what you said about you knew that he was different. And I think that,
I feel like I'm leaving you speechless.
Aldreama. It really does. It really does. What you said about you knew that your role had changed. I mean, that was so powerful, in that it was like, I knew our role had changed, as a mother, and this, and the fact that I am his number one advocate. That was just so powerful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't all fun and games. There were many tough days with the name calling, the hair pulling, the bruises, the hurt feelings. But we persevered because we reached out. And now as I think about retirement, I have a different concern. There are so many other children out there whose parents are afraid to reach out for help. And there is a system, and it will fail you if you don't reach out.
Wow.
And I was willing to be bold and step out of my comfort zone, knowing something wasn't right. And I was willing to accept that my perfect little guy needed extra help. And you know what? He's taught me so many lessons.
Wow.
And so together we're working on his future. And he's learning to be his own advocate. He's learning to advocate for himself.
What a beautiful story that is. I love it.
He's a beautiful young man.
And let's talk a little bit more about your business. We've talked about your book and, and then, the fact that you actually facilitate mastermind groups as well, right? I know you said you attended one, but you also facilitate mastermind groups also, right?
I do. So when I went through this program through Bunker Labs through the military, 3 things came from that. So I became a published author. I ran my first webinar, and then I decided that I wanted to offer this same type of mastermind to other entrepreneurs, because I knew if I could be successful, find success, I know other people could. And if it works for the military, why not share it with anyone that, a civilian? And so with the help of a coach, I wanted to roll it out in person before COVID. And my coach and I came up with the plan of rolling it out in half and do it virtually. So instead of 6 months, 2 hours in person, my mastermind was 3 months, 1 hour virtually. And so we have ran 2 of those programs. I did that in 2021. So we had 10 members in the first group and 10 members in the second group. Actually, there were 2 repeaters. They enjoyed it so much they wanted to come back. So we had 8 new people and then 2 repeat on the second. And then now I'm enrolling people into the 2022 mastermind group, and that is going to be filled up. I'm going to be closing applications at the end of January. So on the 31st, we'll have the group filled up, and then I'll look forward to having another group probably starting in the middle of the year.
Got it. So is it like twice? How many times a year is it?
Well, since it's so new, I'm still kind of learning. I'm still trying to decide what to do. Right now I'm going with a 3-month program still because that's what worked. And so we're meeting now January, so it officially will start February, March, and April. And then I'll advertise again for the next group to start in April, so there might be a little bit of rollover. But you're going to find everything on my website. I'm going to keep people, they can kind of follow along with me if by just looking at my website, or maybe even staying on my email list if you're curious.
Got it. Well, yeah, I mean, and the reason I asked about it because, I knew that you did mastermind groups, but I didn't know, how often it was. I didn't know. And I guess the other question is, so what is the mastermind group about? Is it more like, is it like according to your book? Does it coincide with your book? What is it about?
Well, what it is, it's accountability.
Got it.
So it's basically showing up each week and being accountable for yourself and being accountable to the group.
Got it.
So each week we leave saying what we're willing to accomplish going forward that week, and then the next week we come back and we talk about how it went and what worked, maybe what didn't work, and what we could do differently. And so it's all based on our goals, but our short-term goals that match our 3-month vision.
Got it. So is it for women? Is it for
initially I wanted it to be for both men and women, but right now it's going really well with just women.
Got it.
And, really the common denominator is that these women have been entrepreneurs. And my premise is that most entrepreneurs get stuck on kind of the same things. So a mastermind pulls all these great minds together, and we problem solve together. So we do have time to share, okay, what isn't working. And we do an exercise where we share what's not going well, and then the other entrepreneurs will troubleshoot what they've done or suggestions on what they could do differently.
Yeah,
so really, it's an amazing concept.
Yeah, and it's I was thinking about the time that I have attended, mastermind groups, and there was one that was very, very powerful. I think it was my coach who had one, and this was several years ago, and I had never been in a mastermind group, and so this was like my first time, and it literally is what changed. It helped me to change the language that I was using as I pivoted from one type of business to another one. I was pivoting from my organizing business to coaching and consulting, but when I pivoted, I had not changed the language, and so I was not getting the type of results that I thought I should be getting, and it was because I wasn't using the right language, when I explained what I did. And so that was my first experience in a mastermind group. It was very, very powerful. So yeah, that was why I was asking you, to talk a little bit more about your mastermind group. So
yeah, no, mine it really is powerful, And I feel like there's a lot of masterminds out there right now, and with a lot of them with some heavy-duty price tags. Mm-hmm. And my group is very affordable, and I even offer scholarships because I just feel like I'm going to learn from you.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in my mastermind, I know that together we're better.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to, who do you surround yourself with? And if you surround yourself with like-minded people, nothing but good can come from it.
So you are a published author, you facilitate mastermind groups, and you have a digital marketing business. I just don't know how you get all of this done, and I mean, kudos to you. What I wanted to ask you, though, because, as I mentioned about your digital marketing business, and so that tends to be a little bit of a male-dominated industry, would you say? Would you say that?
I can see where you would think that. I can, yeah. But I feel that, like, percentage-wise, there are more and more women who are becoming entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And I think that number, that percentage is shifting. And and whether it's a man or a woman working their business, I don't think it really matters. For me, I mean, I get things done because I feel like I'm a good delegator. I know what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. And when I'm not able to do something, I look for the right people to help me out. And sometimes it is a man, and sometimes it's a woman. But it kind of depends on what I'm looking for. And maybe men are good. Well, maybe they're not.
Well, I mean, let me clarify that question. Maybe because I was asking about the industry that you're in as far as digital marketing. Do you find that to be a male-dominated? Go ahead.
I don't think that we should let anything that I feel that that's like a coined phrase.
Okay.
From years back by working in the corporate world, that there was a hierarchy. I mean, yes, God has a plan. However, I really feel that we need to work with strengths and look at weaknesses in order to move forward. And sometimes it's maybe training each other how we can help each other in a better way. Yeah. Versus, if you're feeling like you're working in a male-dominated world, it might just be a matter of taking a step back and asking yourself, why do you feel that way? And if you feel that way, maybe it's your time to shine, to move forward and be that person. It's a low. I feel like it's a loaded question. We could probably talk another hour.
One of the episodes that went live last week, she has been in the construction industry, and that is male dominated. And so she was just kind of sharing, and I think that's where my brain was when I was kind of thinking of this question, because it was more or less when she got into that industry. It was definitely because it was like 20-something, years ago. Again, another female, in her 50s. And if we're talking, 25, years ago, then definitely the construction industry was more male dominated.
Right.
So, so.
And, even like corporately too, years ago, the man was always the president of the company, or, it was always male dominated. And I really feel now that I've come to a realization it's all about strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. And, as a women, we can break through that when we realize, we don't have to be intimidated anymore. We don't have to be, we can just be ourselves. And if we disagree, we can agree to disagree and we can walk away because that's our strength.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, you know what? And you said that was the perfect response, because it is a strength. More likely because she started focusing on that and not the fact that it was, male dominated.
Right. And
So
we reap what we sow.
yeah.
If we put our energy into intimidation and can't think of the word I was just going to say, but if we buy into that, that's what shows up.
Yeah.
It's like the backwards power of attraction. It's whatever we think, it just manifests. It gets kind of out in our way, and we get into our head, and those recordings that we put in our mind are going to sabotage ourselves. Yeah. So yeah. I agree that it doesn't have to be that way. That it's just a matter of how we feel about ourselves and how confident we are, because there are some amazing women leaders, including yourself.
Oh,
that
thank you.
you don't need anybody to say you're good enough, because you're good enough.
We may struggle with that a little bit more than men might, with that that recording, that's in our head that tells us we're not good enough, we're not, pretty enough, or we're not, whatever those things, that voice that we hear in our head, and so I think that those things tend to kind of be a little bit more prevalent, with women than, men, because they, they look at, we're different. They're different, we're different. So
yeah. Well, and at the same time, I have a lot of empathy for men, because in a way they've been demasculated. Is that a word?
Yeah.
That they a lot were brought up in a different thinking, and everyone's thinking, I think, especially since COVID, has really changed. That for a lot of people, the light went on. That we are all okay, and we are all worthy of happiness and joy and everything that we want.
Absolutely.
And I think we've all been kind of trained one way, and we're realizing it, that maybe not everything we learned was always the right way.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like that, what we've learned. I think that is probably the key word, the things that we've learned, and it's about, of course, reframing that thought process and the things that we, have believed, for so long. And so, what is the belief, trust, and being method?
So, as I was writing my book, I realized that everything starts out with our belief. And belief comes from knowing without a doubt that success is yours. Belief comes from knowing that the Bible is true. And belief is, there's no room for hesitation, because it's that internal game, which is a subconscious decision. So belief is the acceptance of what you know to be true. So as my mastermind, when they first start, they have to believe in their business. They have to believe that their business is going to make a difference. They've made the decision, and that it's time to take action. Yeah. So the first step in everything we do has to do with our belief. And once you know your belief, after you've made that decision, trust is knowing that you are certain about that truth. So trust means to have confidence that your belief is real. So I've really broken it down, and trust isn't attached to the final outcome, but expect something positive, since there's an attachment to the belief. It's the confidence that what you believe is truth. So trust is knowing that your belief is possible. And then moving into believing, or being rather, it's like receiving. That you're open to receiving all the goodness. When you, with trust in your beliefs, you're open to receiving all the goodness that will come from your belief and your trust. It's an openness that allows goodness. So life is always offering us opportunities to receive what we desire. So the ability to receive is powerful. And so when we take on that ability, we start being that person, so that the choice to receive happiness and abundance brings you into a happier state of being.
Wow.
So those three together won't happen unless you're willing to take action. And action is meaning taking that first step, not waiting for the perfect moment, but action's not about getting it perfect, but it's embracing the imperfection, forgetting the perfection, and just aiming for progress. So, and in my book, I say over and over again, commit to the process and detach from the outcome.
So powerful. Go ahead.
Yeah, action means you're trusting yourself and you're trusting the process to know enough to know that small steps add up in the end.
Now, I know in your business, as a digital marketing company, that you help your entrepreneurs, manage their reputations and their legacy, and actually build authority. Am I correct? Would I be correct? Okay. So how do you build authority? How do you do that?
Writing my book gives me authority. It makes, it's just one of those, another piece of the puzzle of who I am with my digital marketing person, that I am a real person, that I am doing things to move myself forward. And along with that, comes the word gratitude just kind of popped in my mind, and that's not answering your question.
No, that's fine.
But the how do you build authority? By being yourself and trusting. You have the belief in what you're doing, and then you trust what it is that your belief is, and then you allow all the goodness to be attracted to you. And you do that because of the action steps that you take.
Yeah.
And so, automation and duplication does give me a lot of extra time, because a lot of times all I'm doing is just hitting a button, and things magically happen when you push a button sometimes. And that gives me the time to be able to do things like this and spend time with amazing people like you.
You're talking my language when we talk about automation and hitting buttons and systems and all that stuff. So, yeah. So,
and I think people are afraid of technology. I think, the 50 and up group didn't grow up with electronics or technology. I mean, we struggled with the VCR. God forbid we get the tape caught in the VCR and you have to suffer the wrath of your parents. So that's why we're so handoffish with technology, because we're afraid we're going to break it. And our kids, these millennials and younger, are like, no, here, give it to me. Let me try this. No, it didn't work. Let me try this, because they can't break anything.
Right. Yeah. That is
we
so
broke
true.
the VCR. We were in trouble, and the repair shop wasn't going to be able to fix it.
Right. Yeah. Is there anything in your business like you like more than the other?
I love the people. It's all about the relationships that I have been building, and it's always been about the people, whether I worked as a waitress or worked an online business. That, sometimes as an entrepreneur, it can feel pretty lonely because you feel like it's an uphill battle. But once I discovered that it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to be vulnerable and transparent and reach out, that's a game changer, because it really, when I realized that it's about the relationships, that's really what helped me.
Yeah.
I have a hard time putting my finger on anything negative. I guess I would say that I'm my own worst critic, and I have to, let go of the imposter syndrome, let go of the perfectionism, and just take those steps. Because I really have realized that fear serves me. When I know that I'm afraid of something, it means that I'm ready to break through something new, because I have the ability to make things good out of everything. I can make lemonade out of pretty much anything.
Yes.
And that's the mindset that you have to have.
Absolutely. And I totally get what you're saying, because there are things that can be perceived as a negative, or something that you may dislike, but it's always, like you're saying, you can always make lemonade out of lemons. And I love that perspective. But are there some business tips that you would like to share with the listeners?
You bet. I have 7 powerful secrets as a free downloadable on my website.
Yay.
And it's there for you it's powerful secrets to monetize and scale your sales and profits. And we all need profits. We all need sales. So there's 7 secrets that I really feel that have made a difference in my online journey. And if you don't follow these 7 steps, you won't have the sales. We need the leads. We need the sales to move forward, to help more people.
Yes.
So
there we go. It's a freebie, right?
Yay.
It's a freebie. Yay. And I love that, because, again, you have shared, even about, mindset and, that mental thing, which is, mindset is everything.
Every successful entrepreneur will attribute their success to mindset. Everyone, every single one.
I had a lady tell me one time, we were going to work together, and so I was, kind of sharing with her a little bit about, but when we talked about some of like the modules that we would cover in terms of her getting the results that she wanted, I talked about mindset. She said, well, I don't really need the mindset part because I'm a minister, and so I understand, the mindset part. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And I thought to myself, that might be the problem right there.
Great. Yeah.
That is a daily process, daily renewal, daily reframing, daily rethinking, because you're always being attacked in your mind. That's where the enemy attacks you, in your mind. That's where it starts. And so, and obviously we didn't, work together because we couldn't, because there was nothing. When you're not coachable or trainable or, then that was going to be an issue. So we didn't work together, but I digress from that. But my point was about mindset. And so you have shared so many nuggets, about, mindset and about your methodology. And even when we were talking about the male-dominated, industries, that helped me, And so is there anything else that you wanted to share?
You read my mind, because I do like to have fun. And you can follow me along on Instagram. I'm this Instagram junkie that I post once a day of what I'm grateful for. And And it's just kind of a fun thing to put out there and just watch the reaction of people. So that's fun. And what am I posting? I am posting during COVID. I took on making sourdough bread. So I bake sourdough bread all the time in the winter, and then in the spring I plant zinnias. My first year of planting zinnias, I bought 13 packets of zinnias. I went crazy. What's fun is to be able to give to other people. Yeah. And I really feel that COVID helped me move from just living to giving. And so now I don't have to worry. I can just give people bread. I can give people zinnias because I just want to spread the love and I want to give something to them. And they don't, if they don't want it, they could throw it in the garbage and they don't even have to tell me. But I know they're not going to throw my bread away because it's really good. So, yeah, I love to have fun. And it's important. It's so important to have fun. So
it really is.
Follow me on Instagram if you want. If you're looking for fun in your life, I love fun.
Well, I think I just followed you because I don't think we were following each other on Instagram. So hopefully that's
okay.
the right
well,
one.
I will look for you.
Yeah.
Okay, very
so
fun.
I'm following
good.
you now.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm honored. I love it.
Well, Lisa,
I'll help you too.
Well, Lisa, I am so thankful for you joining me on the show today, and I would love for you to come back as we, do another season. I'm going to break from interviews after this interview. I'm going to take a break and have another. There'll be season 2, but it's going to be a different kind of podcast show. It's actually not going to be interviews, and then I'll relaunch doing, interviews. So I want you to come back, and we can talk about some more good stuff because when we, definitely when we come back, I'm sure you will have had your master classes and things like that, and you'll have some more exciting things, to share with us. So,
definitely.
Yeah, so
well, that's
definitely
exciting, Aldreama. I'm excited for you. Your second season, fun.
Yes. And what better way to end the season with an amazing entrepreneur like Lisa Carmichael? Yes.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much. I'm so honored.
But anyway,
thank you so much. You've touched me. You've touched my soul, and I love you for that. Thank you, Aldreama.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate your time, and I believe it was definitely well spent. And the listeners that will get to listen, to the replay and everything, I believe that they will definitely enjoy the value that you bring to the marketplace and which you've shared with us. So thank you so much. Hi, this is Aldreama Harper, and thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope you got value for where you are in your entrepreneurial endeavor. And if you'd like to know more about how I can further serve you, simply go to CoachDreama.com. Again, that's CoachDreama.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Have an amazing day.